here for Pioneer for Sahelli's initiation. As I said in the previous video, we are removing the hero for now due to the high increase of removal that most decks seem to be running. Ooh, it heavens a bit, excuse me. So this deck, as I said before, is built around the same two multicolored payoffs. I mean, obviously we are a Bring to Light NIV deck, so we have NIV Mizzet, 6/6 Flying Wooburg Dragon. When it enters the battlefield, flip the top 10 of your deck, put one of each guild colours, 2 colours pairs, into your hand, rest on the bottom in random order. And it's called NIV to Light because we use Bring to Light, which is a converge spell, free, green and blue. Search your library for an instant, creature or sorcery with mana value equal to or less the number of colours that you use to cast it. So we want to Bring to Light into NIV, get a selection of multicoloured cards as we're playing, and we go from there. Aside from the NIV to Light, we are running our playset of Widespread Thievery because, my god, I can't believe I missed this card in previous season. I swear for Dominaria, which previous start I've started, I will be even in looking through the monocoloured cards for multicoloured payoff or things like that. It also has Hideaway 5, so when it enters the battlefield, we look at the top 5 cards of our library, exile one of them face down in the bottom order. We cast a multicoloured spell, make a treasure. Then we may pay Wooburg, and if we do, we can cast the exiled card without paying its mana cost. So, a bit of a number with Bring to Light, because if we cast it without paying its mana cost, we get 0 converge. However, it's still good to hit NIVs or other things. If you're worried about removal, we can just throw one of our 35 lands in the deck underneath it. And then we have the new girl that we're initiating here, Sahelli, the Sublime Artificer. One is it hybrid, as we said before. Whenever we cast a non-creature spell, we make a 1/1 servo. There's going to be so many matchups where just churning out 1/1s is going to swing the tide in our favour. But then let's go with our curve now and show off what we got. So we have a playset of Deathrite Shamans. We have some land interaction with Fabled Passage and some of our cycle lands that could give us lands. But I never understood the power of this card until I started playing it Pioneer and suddenly realised that literally all this card needs to do is just sit back, block with its 2 toughness if it has to, and then end step, even if you don't use it, tap it to drain or gain life. It's so good, and I think it'll be a mainstay of Pioneer for good. We have Valky, the God of Lies, / Tybalt, the Cosmic Imposter. We should never pay for 7 mana for Tybalt because we can cheat him in off the Bring to Light, because Bring to Light exiles the card, then you choose to cast it. So we exile Valky for a converge of 2 or higher, and we can then choose to cast which side of Valky we want to cast, so we naturally put in Tybalt. Moving down, we have Azorius Charm. My love of the charms continues. This is the creatures we gain lifelink. We draw a card or we bounce an attacking creature. So it's a fog / cycles in the worst case scenario. Playset of Vanishing Verse, exile monocolored permanent. Never not good. We're running in the main board 3 Drown in the Loch. We're going to see how these go. I might switch back to Tyrant Scorns if the meta has shifted significantly. But basically, Drown in the Loch lets us either counter a spell or kill a creature with mana value equal to or less than the number of cards in their graveyard. Very relevant against Phoenix, obviously. Is it Charm, a mini mana leak, a shock, and a Faithless Looting all in one. So it lets us counter or creature spell, 2 damage to a creature, or draw 2, discard 2. Very versatile, very good. Dreadball for creature and planeswalker removal. Sin Divines is hate for the Lotus Field deck and the Phoenix deck. If they want to cast 4 or 5 spells a turn, it's going to cost them 4 or 5 life, as you say there. Justice Strike, solid removal for any big creatures. Then we have Selesnya Charm. So, this is a holdover from when Rat Combo was an insane menace, but I still like this card. So, it's currently 2 mana, make a 2/2 Vigilance Knight, exile a creature with Banner 5 or greater, or target creature gets +2/+2 and gains trample to end of turn. Each mode is significantly relevant. I would say that the most common one we will use will be the 2/2 Knight. If Sahelli's out or the Widespread Thievery, it can be 2 mana, make a treasure, make a 1/1 servo, and make a 2/2 Knight, which is very agreeable. But also, a lot of the all-in decks, for example, the cheating in big Eldrazi's, the ones that cheat in the Titan of Industry, the one that Transmogrify Titan, that's the one. The Rat Reanimation deck. Celestia Charm exiles the creature, so it doesn't go back to the graveyard for the rat, and +5 or greater, it will hit pretty much, well, it'll hit the Parhelion, which is what we really don't want to hit us or attack. Moving along, we have Colligan's Command. I mean, everyone knows the power of this card. Return a creature to opponent discards card, destroy an artifact or 2 damage. I mean, every mode on there is relevant and always good. We have 1 copy of Deafening Clarion for the creature matchups. And then we have 2 Supreme Verdicts as our heavy removal in the deck. Finally, our last card, we have Edgar the Charmed Groom. So he is a 4/4 for 2 and Azorius, 2 and Orzhov. Vampires we control get +1/+1. When Edgar dies, return it to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. When it dies, it transforms into Edgar Markov's Coffin. At the beginning of your upkeep, create a 1/1 black-white vampire creature token with lifelink and put a bloodline counter on the coffin. If there are 3 or more counters, remove them and transform it. So if he's not exiled, Edgar just keeps coming back. Fun little interaction that I sometimes use in this deck against go-wide strategies is if Edgar is on the field and we have a Sahelli, if we have a servo or a treasure, we can use her -2 to turn the treasure or servo into a copy of Edgar. We then legend rule the original Edgar and keep the token copy, which will instantly cause Edgar to flip into his coffin, which will then start churning out 1/1 lifelinkers for us and let us then eventually flip him back. Aside from that, obviously, having this card out is nice because even if we are forced to Supreme Verdict our own board, he's still going to provide us value and eventually come back. So that's a main board. Let's see what our sideboard's looking like. Right. We have Yorion as a companion, naturally, of course. We have the Dream Team of the Gods. We have Clophis, God of Destiny, Graveyard Hate, Life Gain, Damage, Ramp, whatever you need her to be. And Keranos, the God of Storms. Absolute powerhouse if you resolve him. Both of these are fetchable off the Bring to Light because they technically are creatures, even if they're not when they enter the battlefield. It will give you absurd advantage having these cards out. We have a full playset of Leyline of the Void because there's so much graveyard stuff. There's the Rat combo, there's the Phoenix decks, there's incidental graveyard value decks, and Aristocratic Sacrifice decks. Cadovan is still here. So just having a good extra insurance against them is always good. 2 more Clarions for the matchup against go-wide strategies. 2 Vetoes for the matchup against Control. Fracture as an additional way to deal with the artifacts and enchantments and Planeswalkers. And 2 Tyrant Scorns more for the removal. We might be swapping these with the Drown in the Locks depending on how the rest of it goes. And 1 more Celestia Charm because, oh my, I love the charms. So we're going to play some games here and we'll see how this deck goes. It's been a while since I dived into Pioneer, so wish me luck. Alright, so we are here with the Yorion post-commentary gameplay. My commentary was off point because I've been so tired from doing it recently. Well, not tired, so I haven't done it recently. Man, I'm not even getting it down. So we're up against Mono White, what I assumed was combined of Mono White Weenie, which was compounded by the Knight, but I forgot they're playing Yorion. So, end step, when they don't attack, we'll cycle the Azorius Charm, draw a card. We are just flooding out here. Fortunately, since we can Rose Passage, with Fable Passage, we can now get the Bring to Light. We grab our NIV, because we always grab our NIV. And NIV gets us Colligan's Command, Is It, and Drown the Lock. I got the Colligan's Command because I keep forgetting that it can bring back the NIV. We use the Death Rod Charm to Skyclave Apparition. We get in because we know we can win this race. Colligan's Command, force them to discard. We Is It Charm because we see they have a Nikros, so they're Mono White Devotion, so we want to keep the Devotion down. They get a Charming Prince here. and they hard cast a second Urion. This is not their companion. And I realize this is Mono White Devotion / Mono White Blink. And they have set up now with the Charming Prince a really strong engine with Urion here. So Urion will come back later, get in. Let's get in with the NIV. We'll take out the print because that's the key thing here. We'll also take out the draw engine. We'll leave them with the Fragment Inspector. If they want to draw cards, it's going to cost them 2, which is a reasonable rate. They drop a Castle Ardenvale. I should really put that in the Explorer version of this deck. We hit the Illusion token here and we drop to 10. They play a Soul Sister, Teleportation Circle, and they start getting some obscene value. Now, I make an interesting choice here. With the Supreme Verdict on the field, what I do is I go for a Bring to Light, and I grab Valky, flipping into Tybalt. Because I will exile their Urion and use it to cast and blink on Niv next turn. Now, the other reason as well I like doing this is it brings back all their stuff. But if they want to kill Tybalt here, they have to attack with at least 3 creatures, which will trigger the okay, well, here the thing with the Emery's Call giving indestructible, we take out the Fragment Inspector. And with this, they at least flip Legion's Landing, so there's 1 less devotion on the field. But with Valky gone now, we still have Urion here. They have indestructible for now. And I believe we have lost the recording here. Oh no, there it goes. Yep. The recording has gone to crap. Well, here's the truth. We go literally to the wire here. What happens late game is they use the Odonto and the Castle Ardenvale to try to go wide to kill us. We drop a Sahelli that you know from the tech, and we start just churning out anything that we can to block. We start picking them off. They think they've got us and go for lethal, and they've eaten a lot of time when they do this. However, they forget Deathrite Shaman's ability to give us life back. So we survive because Deathrite blocks, then gains us 2 life. So we literally live on 2 because Deathrite saves us. Combine that with hitting another Bring to Light, we eventually grind out and win the game. Even though they are on like 90 life, they realize that they're not going to kill us and we're not going to kill them. And by this point, they are behind on clock. So we go to game 2. Game 2, we just bring in a ton of removal. We bring in all of our board wipes, and we bring in Keranos for good measure because he dodges the exile effect of the Skyclave Apparition, and we hit him in our opening hand here. As you can see here, our time is absurdly low, so you know how loud that in the last match was. We drop a Triome. Our opponent goes Spirited Companion, hits us down. We drop a Deathrite, we hit the Fables, we get another land out while we can, just in case we don't draw another one. We have 4 mana here, but I choose to save it, dropping a Wiseherd Thievery to generate treasures. Opponent drops a Charming Prince, doesn't come in for the attack. We don't hit a land here, so what I do is I go for a greedy play. I use the Izzet Charm, knowing that we'll get a treasure, and if we can draw a land, which we do, I throw away Fables and play a basic. We'll be set up for next turn. Opponent hits their 3rd land and comes in with the Charming Prince. Now they are behind here and struggling because I think they kept literally an open 7 just to deal with things. So we drop the Keranos here. So Keranos, for those of you who don't know, if we reveal our first draw card each turn, each of our turns. If we reveal a land, we draw an additional card to help us find fuel. If we draw a non-land, he bolts something. So we bolt one of their creatures, we Supreme Verdict to keep the board clear. Next turn we can drop Edgar. So it's a shame that they he goes here to make a additional copy. We then drop Niv Mizzet, Drown in the Loch to kill the Cavalier of Dawn. Opponent drops in the Teleportation Circle, which would have been brutal if they still had the Cavalier of Dawn. Keranos just keeps hitting us lands. You know what? It's fine. He's drawing us cards. We bring to light here, we grab Valky, flip him into Tybalt, and just uptick him. We hit 2 lands, which is unfortunate. Our opponents drew a Spirited Companion and then draws another Cavalier of Dawn with the Teleportation Circle, takes out our NIV, we trade tokens. They blink Cavalier again, take out Valky. We then drop the Supreme Verdict to clear the board. We drop an Edgar. Edgar also came very useful in game 1 because we used the Edgar clone strategy that I mentioned in the tech. Our opponent just keeps churning out creatures. With less than a minute left, they've got to try and take 15 life off us and win another turn. But this turns out to be their downfall. Since there's so many triggers now, it just eats the last bit of their time up. So we also draw a Clarion, so we Clarion, we get to keep Edgar, swing in. Now they have to do 19 damage in under a minute. And they Spirited Companion, keep drawing cards. More things. Cyclave takes out Edgar, which is sad for us because I didn't realize it was that powerful. They don't, they get more life. We then cast Bring to Light to grab another Live Mizzet. And at this point our opponent's seen enough. With 30 seconds left, they're not going to be able to take 2 games off us and they concede the match. But they are a good sport about it. So that was a pretty good showing. It's a shame the recording didn't work since I screwed up the first recording and my commentary was so bad. Next we played up against another long match here. We played against an opponent playing the Lotus Field combo deck. Now, just to summarize another match, this match went to time as well. If this match had gone longer, I think they would have won. I cycled to draw a card here. We have a Drown in the Lock, which could be useful. I dropped the Sahelli because, the Widespread Fever, I forgot that. I hit a NIV. So, opponent shimmers, drops a Lotus Field, loses 2 lands. What I do here is cast as a Sahelli, but hold up the mana for a Drown in the Lock. Since they sacked 2 lands, there's now 4 lands in their graveyard. They have the Thespian Stage, so it's nothing too major. I choose to go for a Bring to Light here, and I go for Niv Mizzet as always, because I just got to look for counter spells or interaction. And I realise I'm very underprepared for this deck. I dropped Deathrite Shaman because that's a free cast with a Widespread Fever on the field. And literally, no joke in these matchups, in the first match in particular, Deathrite Shaman became the little elf shaman that could. So our opponent now has basically infinite mana here. We counter this. No, we can't counter this, sorry, the pour over the pages because they had less than 5. They Shimmer of Possibility. We're looking for an opportune time to counter something. So they go for Vizier of Tumbling Sands. And they hit Dark Petition. So now I counter this. We're just trying to keep ourselves alive at this point. Now, I'd like to point out that I countered their thing here. And now here comes a fun interaction here. I'm going to Bring to Light in my turn, grab me a Valky, and I'm going to use that Valky to exile the Fae of Wishes. Now, if you exile with Tybalt a adventure card, like the Fae of Wishes on the field here, you can cast the adventure side, which will then trigger the exile still under your control. We drop a Cindervines here because I think that'll crush them. We go in with everything we've got, put them down to 10, they are dead on board. Now, they haven't shooted, they've drawn a couple extra, but they just naturally have their Destroy All Non-Land Permanents card to completely wreck us. And it's heartbreaking. They make a 3rd Lotus Field to pass the turn. We use the Granted ability of Granted and we grab a Veto. It's not great, but it's probably the best thing we can do here. I really need to work on the sideboard to get better interaction for these decks. We use the Veto here to buy time. Now, this is where things get interesting. Literally, just going to cast the Fae of Wishes here. And we are going to grind our opponent down. They draw their 2nd Lotus Field, so they've got 2 fields, 2 Thespians. I start exiling to drain them of life. I'm hoping that they don't realize I have a Colligan's Command in hand here. In hindsight, I really should have burnt this earlier and got back a NIV. But what I was doing here was, so they get back their Fae of Wishes and the Emergent Ultimatum. They give us a choice of Omniscience, Peer to the Depths, and Beyond. We get rid of the Omniscience because I was hoping that if they draw half their deck and lose half their life, we would have still been able to do the damage with Deathrite and Colligan's Command. The reason I didn't give him Omniscience was I was pretty sure that I was not going to be able to resolve that. However, since they have only 3 cards in hand, each one would have been relevant, so we use the discard effect and do the damage. They get rid of a Sylvan's, a Vizier of the Tumbling Sand. No, another Sylvan Scrying. They go down to 4 here. So, they go to pass. So we end step, exile a card. And on our end step, we exile one of our own. And we do that because if they have instant speed, put something back on top of their deck or shuffle their graveyard, they negate the trigger. So it was better to target our own there. So here's what happens then. So as you saw there, we got pretty wrecked. We're bringing all our counter spells for game 2. We got pretty lucky there. And you'll notice we already have a 5-minute lead on them. So I am playing here to go for the win of literally just, I'm going to make them time out. That's how you deal with this deck, honestly, on MTGO. In paper, I'm not sure. They probably have, there's probably some great tech I need to look into for this deck, particularly if I'm going to be playing more Pioneer. But again, they get the turn free Lotus Field. They don't have the way to untap it, thankfully. I play the Fable passage here to hope and make him think that, oh, he didn't have a turn free play. When in reality we did, but we didn't want to go too nuts. So, turn 5 now, they go off and basically win the game here. This is not an exaggeration here. So I counter the first strings and they still go off through that with their current setup. So basically, I know I'm dead here, basically, with the infinite mana that they're making. But my plan is literally, and I would applaud anyone in the league to do this. This was online tournament practice. Just make them do it. And they can't get mad at you really in a tournament practice setting because, alright, they Fort Distortion us and keep going. Emergent Ultimatum again, we get the same thing here. We just get rid of Omniscience. They bring back Pour of the Pages and Hidden Strings and just keep going. But they go down to 4 minutes here. So, they drop the Disciple of the Drowned, which gives all his cards flashback. He draws half his deck. He finally finds a way to tutor for his win condition outside of the game. That'd be a fun hate piece to put in decks, you know, something that then you can't counter. There we go, double approach the second sun, they win. However, key thing here, that took them 7 minutes to win from there. So, game 3, all we got to do is run out the clock. So, I keep the Valky hand here because I am bringing my ley lines. So I play my ley line. Now, I have a theory that they might have the Wish card in hand, the Fae of Wishes, which they do, so I snipe it with Valky. Thankfully, they don't have a lot of interaction in their hand. They dig a lot to try and find something. They do have a Fort Distortion, so our veto might not do a lot here. So I drop the Thievery immediately, thinking that we'll get some value out of it. But they use their Mystical Dispute on it, which is slightly interesting in my opinion. Well, not terribly too bad. Right, they field with their Thespian Stage, so now have 6 mana, huge. Play our land, we drop our Deathrite Shaman, hit in with Valky. They're down to 2 minutes here. They have Vizier of Tumbling Sands. They go for 7 mana, they Hidden Strings. Now this is where I get confused. They don't go for the Fort Distortion here despite having all this mana. So what I decided to do here is, they have the mana to Fort Distortion anyway, so I decided to counter the spell and just buy time. 1 minute left on their clock. Drop another Death Ride, just keep swinging in. Opponent has 1 minute left and starts going for the combo effects. They go for a Sylvan Scrying here, and they grab a Burrow, City in the Sky to bounce Valky and try to get back their wish to try and win the game, but they have 10 seconds and it's tick-tock GG. I don't even think they get to resolve that. Nope, they just run out of time. Yep, so that's how you beat combo decks. You have to wait 25 minutes while they spin the wheels and just do not do anything. Not bad.